So Money in the Bank is just around the corner. This is Wrestle Juice. I don't know why I said that. Hey, friendo, Steve here. It's Wrestle Juice. It's time once again. All right, it's time for more wrestling hot takes. Man, I tell you what, I loaded up a ton of these takes, and I will tell you right now, I'm gonna be honest with you. These takes are as hot as the surface of the sun. These are blistering hot takes. I can't believe that these takes are gonna make it to YouTube because they're too hot for TV. Let's go ahead and dive into them. First hot take comes from Cinema Love 00. None of the hot takes chosen are ever really hot takes. These ones are. Flair versus Reigns says Cena should have turned heel in the main event of WrestleMania and won the 17th. The shock heel turn plus the record win would have been as shocking as the streak ending, in my opinion. Well, we'll never know, will we? Because it didn't happen there. But I've seen this take a lot, and 31 of you guys thumbs up that, which is a pretty big number for in terms of the take a thumbs up, leave a thumbs up situation. I don't know what that would have looked like, because if they had kind of built a bigger story, maybe away from The Rock. Maybe The Rock doesn't show up at Elimination Chamber and they don't do the whole thing with Cena turning heel there. They build to it with a different story where he turns heel at WrestleMania. Maybe it could have been a more satisfying total arc in terms of like, well, you had The Rock there, and then The Rock wasn't there, and everybody kind of poo-pooed that Mania main event night 2 situation. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I really loved the Elimination Chamber heel turn. I really liked it. I really liked his promos afterwards, even though he didn't really reference The Rock. I think here's the problem. We all expected that Elimination Chamber heel turn alliance with The Rock to set up like a road to WrestleMania that you would see The Rock and they would be allies and they would interact and whatnot beyond that initial image of just Cena and The Rock. Instead, they pivoted because The Rock wasn't going to come back. Again, hopefully at some point, a bunch of people will write a book on this particular topic. I mean, ideally, by a year from now, John Cena will have like talked about all this stuff because he will have retired and maybe they'll have released whatever documentary series they'll have on the whole thing. But yeah, him winning at WrestleMania, it makes me wonder if maybe kind of like the WrestleMania 17 heel turn with Austin joining McMahon, maybe they didn't want to replicate that. Me personally, I was not a fan of that ending at WrestleMania 17. I hated Austin joining McMahon. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. It just makes Austin look kind of weak. And I don't think that they're at that point where they need to do an Austin heel turn. And I certainly don't think it makes any sense him aligning with Vince McMahon. We got some good comedy stuff out of it, but maybe they didn't want to replicate that necessarily. I don't know. I don't know what the reasons were, if it was ever discussed to do that, but we got what we got. I thought the heel turn itself was really well done. It's just the road to WrestleMania veered from what that was setting up. And so that's why I think maybe some people have this take and think that it should have happened at WrestleMania. Real bummer of an ending if that's the case, but it was kind of a bummer of an ending anyways, because the bad guy won. So yeah, I don't know. Depending on how that story would have been told, then I'm there for it. If it would have been a turd of a story, yeah, I'm happy with the way they did it. Andrew Sharp claims Cody won't get the reaction WWE expects when he returns against Cena. So I'm assuming you think that the WWE thinks that Cody's going to get a big babyface return. I feel like he is going to get a massively positive reaction. Depending on what they do with Cody Rhodes over the following months will sort of dictate where the crowd reaction is going to be by the time John Cena retires, or by the time Cody Rhodes takes that title off him, because I feel like it's going to be Cody that takes the title off him. They will need to book this in a certain way to get the reaction that they want. I know a lot of people have been waiting on this Cody Rhodes, the fans are going to turn on Cody Rhodes situation, and I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think it's going to happen in a way that doesn't feel a little bit on the fluky side like it did in the build to WrestleMania. I feel like there was a variety of factors there that led the crowd to start booing Cody Rhodes. For one thing, John Cena getting that 17th title is something that I think a lot of people really wanted to see. And this new iteration of John Cena is something that people really wanted to see. And so whoever was opposing him was going to get that. My theory is, 2 weeks from now at Money in the Bank, John Cena is going to cross a certain line of violence when it comes to R-Truth. I imagine they're going to have Travis Scott there helping John Cena against R-Truth. Even though you think you don't need that, I think they're going to have R-Truth be pretty competitive against John Cena. Maybe Travis Scott helps him after the match. They both do a beatdown of R-Truth. That brings out Cody Rhodes. No crowd in existence is going to boo that. You beat down R-Truth like that, anybody who makes the save is going to get an absolute hero's welcome. So Cody can hang on the mic with John Cena. And I think Cody and WWE are savvy enough to position him so that it doesn't just look like, oh, Cody's coming back to take back the title just like that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to wait until probably SummerSlam to do that, which, is only a couple months away. But, they're going to have to tread lightly. I'm not saying that Cody's bulletproof, but I think they're savvy enough to understand how to get the reaction that they want, or at least put themselves in a position to get that reaction. Gaming Arachnid says, this break from Cody Rhodes on TV every week doing the same shtick, that's been refreshing. So the counter to that one is, because I don't necessarily disagree, because the Cody thing, even though the fans in the arena love it, the Cody thing, I was happy that he lost that title. That being said, SmackDown hasn't exactly been firing on all cylinders lately. It's been a little bit on the side. And I feel like some of that relates to John Cena not really being around all that much. He just sort of pokes his head up to promote the latest premium live event, or in this case, this weekend, a network special. And so SmackDown has kind of been feeling like it's lacking something. Now, if that something is Cody doing his standard shtick, that's fine. But that's sort of like your main event guy right there. And your other main event guy kind of isn't there a whole lot. So I don't know, man. I kind of feel like Cody Rhodes coming back and, getting stuff going with John Cena again, it's going to be welcomed. And I think the ratings are going to go up. And that just means there's going to be more interest in it because hopefully, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really care who's there. I just want SmackDown to go back down to 2 hours. That's what I want, because this 3-hour stuff that they don't know how to book a compelling 3-hour show, because Raw is actually a lot of fun. And that's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes, something like that. So yeah, they need to start booking SmackDown a bit more compelling. But I feel Cody shtick was getting a little bit on the tired side. George says Dominik Mysterio will have a far better career than his father. Oh, wow. I actually had to give this one some thought, George, during my day, because I looked at all these hot takes earlier. And so I've had a chance to ruminate on them. And I've done a little bit of math as well. Math, not really my strong. Actually, I can't really say math isn't my strong suit, because I made it all the way to calculus by the time I was in high school. I failed miserably because my senior year, I had total senioritis and calculus was way beyond me. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So Dominik Mysterio, I thought about this and I think I came up with a pretty decent analogy. Let me ask you guys, who had a better career up to the point of his passing, Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio? I think a case could be made for either one. If you take a look at Rey Mysterio, there are a couple things that he's going in his favor. Number one, he was a supreme wrestler back in his early days, especially. That Halloween Havoc 1997 match is an all-timer for me. Of course, that was with Eddie Guerrero, who was a spectacular wrestler in his own right. But the legend of Rey Mysterio has got a legacy because of the mask, the name, the presentation, the in-ring. Never been a great promo. He's had decent promos, but never been a great promo. Didn't really have to be. But he has reached icon status. He really has. And the guy is hella old and he can still move really well in the ring. But by this time, he has established himself as I don't know, the Andre the Giant of luchadors. Everybody knows who Rey Mysterio is. I don't know if Dominik's going to get to that point in terms of his legacy, but I do feel like he can have an Eddie Guerrero-esque career where he's relying a lot more on his personality, because that's what you see with him much more than his dad. Dom is already a better promo than Rey Mysterio ever was. That's absolutely a fact. Not as good a wrestler, and I don't know if he's going to get there, but he could adapt what he does to be like a good storytelling wrestler. But he's not like a great wrestler. He's not a bad wrestler. He's a good wrestler. He's a fine wrestler. He can put on good matches, but he's not his dad in that respect. But wrestling is an industry that loves characters. And that's why Eddie's career was such a solid one. It was such a great career because everybody loved Eddie Guerrero. His character was one of the best of all time. And I think Dom can have that. Whether or not that will be considered, because he's going to win world championships as well. Whether or not that'll be considered better than his dad, on par with his dad, not as good as his dad, I don't know. Because the thing that makes Rey Mysterio is so much different than what makes Eddie Guerrero, for example. The legacies are simply different. You can look at Eddie and be like, oh no, this guy was world champion. He won at WrestleMania. He had that great moment with name redacted at the end of WrestleMania 20. He had a stellar career on par, I think, with Rey Mysterio. But they bring different things to the equation. They bring different legacies to the equation. So it's difficult to say, oh, this guy had a better career than the other one. And I think Dom is going to be kind of more akin to an Eddie Guerrero type career than a Rey Mysterio one. And I think that's great. I think that's fine. And I think hopefully by the end of his career, people will be able to debate who had a better career. I think he'll be at that level. But Rey Mysterio at this point is like the definition of an icon, like the name, the presentation, the masks, his legendary status. It's all there. It's cemented at this point. So whether or not Dom will get to that point, I don't know, but he's going to have a killer career. He has turned that corner and the sky is the limit for that guy. All right, let's talk Money in the Bank. Ken Adams' business firm says Chelsea and Tiffany should have swapped roles over the past year. Tiffany was not ready to be a main event babyface once the crowd started supporting her, but Chelsea was. I can go on and on about Money in the Bank world title and U.S. suiting, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Ken Adams' business firm. I agree with you. Although I don't necessarily agree that Tiffany wasn't ready for the main event. I think especially from her, the match she had with Charlotte, match she had with Nia, she is a really good in-ring performer. And I think putting the title on her at her age wasn't a bad move. I think that they could have swapped roles and had Tiffany be the U.S. champion, had Chelsea be like a Money in the Bank winner, cashing in under Nia. All that stuff could have been under Chelsea. And in my personal opinion, I think it would have been more entertaining. But I also understand the idea of, hey, let's get moving on this Tiffany Stratton run because she is going to be around for a very long time. But Chelsea's great. I really love what she does. I'd love for her to get into that Money in the Bank match somehow and make it even better. But we have another take about that here. Let's take a look. Matt Mormon says the entire reason Chelsea Green is not in Money in the Bank is to avoid the risk of the crowd turning on Rhea. This sounds like a conspiracy theory, and it's one that I agree with. Because it's true. It's totally true. I don't know if they intentionally were like, boy, Chelsea's really over. We can't put her in the match because it's going to take away from Rhea Ripley. But like, it also, they got to think about this stuff. They got to think about this stuff. And like, it wouldn't shock me if they were like, hey, listen, we can't have anybody railroading this thing. We want people to be cheering Rhea so that when Naomi wins, it'll be just a giant chorus of boos. Maybe. I don't know. It sort of depends on what they're going to do with Chelsea from here on out. Because if they're worried about Chelsea taken away from Rhea, then that means that they know that Chelsea's popular and they generally run with people who are popular. So what that means for Chelsea, I don't know. But yeah, this wouldn't shock me. Spatha08 and Jackie Boy say, I hope Chelsea figures out a way to get Money in the Bank. She deserves to be in the match. And Jakey says Chelsea Green's a perfect Money in the Bank holder. Fact. I agree with it. God damn it. But I really want Naomi to win this year. I want her to cash in on Tiffany. I think it'd be great. Naomi's doing great work right now. Bucket Dipper says Ricochet is the best heel in wrestling, and it's not even close. I don't know about best heel in wrestling or it being close or not, but I really love the work that Ricochet's been doing. He's incredibly entertaining, and I'll be honest with you guys, this is something that I wanted to see a long time ago in WWE. I said ages ago, give me arrogant heel Ricochet. He could be funny. He could act like he's the bee's knees. He can be like the most arrogant guy and still do really cool shit in the ring. And look at what happened. It's working really, really well in AEW. I love his work. The people are really responding to it. And once he goes back to being a face, I think he'll be super over. So yeah, he's done a killer job, and the people of AEW have done a killer job with Ricochet. Is he the best heel in the business right now? I don't know. He's definitely one of the more entertaining ones, though. DJ Luke D says the New Day's heel turn was a waste of time. Hard disagree on this, because if they didn't do the heel turn, they'd just be like the same kind of boring, what are they even doing, babyface guys, or like Woods would be dissatisfied. I mean, I don't know how else you would have done it. Like Kofi turns on Woods turns on Kofi, which is what they were hinting at. I loved the heel turn, and now they're tag champs. And hopefully they'll start writing some actual stories here. I mean, that's sort of the thing. A waste of time if you frame it within the context of after the heel turn, they didn't do shit with those guys until they were like, okay, now let's go ahead and put the tag titles on them at WrestleMania. And it would have been nice if they had more of like a story leading to that. But like the tag division is really a whole lot of nothing on Raw. They really should just combine the divisions, because the SmackDown tag division's heating up. They're not even telling stories over there. They're just doing really, really good wrestling matches, and everybody knows who their characters are. They really should be writing some stories over there, though. But anyways, yeah, they should conglomerate those titles, man. James Delbridge says Dan Lambert in AEW is fantastic. Oh my God, that's a searing hot take. Who is it that said at the beginning of this thing these takes aren't even going to be hot? Because that's hot. Dan Lambert in TNA was really good. Dan Lambert in AEW has basically changed the channel material, but hey, I respect the heat of that take. Arbalest3 says, I used to be so invested in what the internet's opinion on all wrestling was, but nowadays seeing cherry-picked clips of AEW and WWE to sell a certain agenda has led me to no longer entertain the discourse, and I've been enjoying wrestling way more because of it. Flair was right. Social media truly is destroying the enjoyment you get out of wrestling. Well, good for you. I actually kind of agree with this, to be honest with you. Oh, man. I have basically kind of just done away. It's kind of good that both Twitter has gone to shit and like Bluesky is just kind of boring and a bit on the obnoxious side. It's just sort of weaned me off of social media. Like I'll hop on Twitter just to get a feel of like, hey, what's the discourse right now? Is this anything that I can make content out of? But in terms of like actively engaging with the discourse, I like what we do here. And in the comments that you guys leave and like the posts that I make, and then over at the Reddit Juice, I love all that stuff. Like in our own little bubble, which I know you're not supposed to be in a bubble, but I really like being in our little bubble because it smells nice here. It smells like pizza and Del Taco or something. I'm just hungry, I think. But yeah, I don't know, man. Social media, it's just, I feel like maybe people just should try to tune out of that a little bit more and just flip it on. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Great. If you don't, you don't. That's cool too. But yeah, the discourse, it's asinine. Some of the shit that I see on Twitter, I'm like, golly, man. What? Dr. Howie says, I feel you guys are bullied into doing AEW and NXT reviews. We're being bullied? Who's bullying us? They need to be a star. No, I don't know, man. No, I don't think we're being bullied. So like when we stop doing NXT reviews, we're talking about going in Raw now. Do what I want you to do, microphone. When we stop doing NXT reviews, there was always people in the comments who were like, I miss these. Go back to the NXT reviews. Go back and do those. And so we did. We brought them back. I think it's good. Look, it's my job to watch wrestling, critique it, analyze it, try to bring some entertainment to that critique, to that analysis over it going in Raw. And so I'm fine doing it. I don't feel bullied into doing it. AEW is a thoroughly enjoyable product. It sort of lacks the big soap opera type shit that I like in my pro wrestling, that I like in my WWE. It also has some really awesome wrestling matches. And I think that they've got these days a really good ratio of the storytelling stuff with the pro wrestling. It just lacks those big soap opera moments. But I have no problem doing that. I can't complain about thing number fucking 1 because I get to make a living doing this, and I feel very, very privileged and lucky to do that. So I do not feel bullied. You know, there are times when I feel like I would love to sort of like not focus so much on like just having to recap all Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW, all 4 shows every single week, and maybe pivot to like video essays or something like that. But at the end of the day, this is what I have built my career on. It's what Larson's built his career on. And we're very happy to do that. And we always have a good time reviewing the shows. Sometimes I'll sit there during NXT or an AEW and be like, you know, I feel like not a lot's happening right now. But then I'll watch a SmackDown and be like, God damn, nothing's happening right now. It's all peaks and valleys in wrestling. But nah, I don't feel bullied. I don't feel bullied at all. I enjoy my job. I love my job. And if we have people saying, hey, what a great problem to have for people to be in our comments saying, hey, I really want to get your opinion on something. That's a very nice thing. That means, hey, you know what? What we do is effective. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I don't feel bullied at all. Matthew Tom Chesson says Screaming Trees is the best grunge band through their versatility, career length, and creativity. Man, oh man. Oh, number one, look, dude, you got to do the grunge take over at the Going In Raw on the hot takes episodes there. I can't be doing the grunge stuff here without Larson around. And if Larson shows up, it's no longer Wrestle Juice's Friendo Club or Going In Raw. So I can't talk about the grunge. I do like Screaming Trees though. Mark Lanigan. Oh, love that guy. Rest in peace. He's awesome. I love his shit that he did with the Queens of the Stone Age. God damn. Love Mark Lanigan. But you got to keep the grunge stuff over where Larson is. Can't be doing it here. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it again, man. This job that I have, it's a privilege and an honor. And I just appreciate everybody out there for allowing me to do this and making $1.01 off of it. Do me a solid. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.